Yeah. I guess I can talk. Um, you want to try and come up? You just click that link and it'll bring you up here. Problem is, if you're trying to come in, you can't hear me talking, so I can't give you any tips if you're stuck. Meanwhile, I thought that meeting we had went pretty well. Come on, come on. What's happening? I get the feeling you're not online anymore. Ah, yay!
Hello.
So what's happening? What's now?
Well,
What?
I can't sleep, so
I was going to send a message and say, I'm having homemade beef soup today, but then I decided against it. I still have that jar you gave me.
okay.
One of these nice cold nights.
Yeah,
But you know what stopped me though? When I looked at it in the jar,
yeah.
I had just decided that I'm going to try to go low carb for a while. I saw like all those carrots in there and stuff. But that's right. I remember now. That's why I didn't open it up.
Yeah.
Well, seems like you got a better connection today, huh?
Oh, this time of the night's always better. They
So,
it's when the kids come home.
oh. So You probably saw my thing about my phone.
Yeah.
So I not only did I get rid of my landline and I cut down my channels, okay, but I also my internet went from 400 megabyte to a gig, like two and a half
Wow.
times better, and I still saved $30.
Wow. That's awesome. We don't have many choices out this way for like line internet.
Comcast doesn't come up there.
No.
See, I thought I thought it would like go straight up that road to
Oh, it
Houtzdale. It would be,
does. The
but they
main
won't
line
charge you.
does.
They want. Do they want to charge you for like to run the whole thing, or did you ever
Um,
check?
no, I asked him about it, but it's just the line that runs to Houtzdale to feed Houtzdale. They don't have any of the household lines.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know there'd be a difference, which is
Me
kind of
neither,
sad.
but I guess it's all fiber optic back there.
It's kind of a sad comment coming from a guy with an associate degree in electronics, but I guess that's why I never became an electronicnician.
Yeah. Well,
So
everybody finds their own path, I guess.
I've had an interesting couple of days. Um, yeah, I'll just give you broad strokes. I can't do details a whole lot, but the other day, and I think it was Monday, it's either Monday or Tuesday, I went to send an email. And like when you go to send and like you'll you'll type in the C for Chad, and then you'll see like Carl and whatever.
Right?
So I went to send an email and I saw the name of somebody that I used to talk to all the time a couple of years ago. And somehow we just fell out of contact totally. And it was somebody that I considered a really good friend. I mean, we used to talk about all kinds of stuff. And I thought, I'm going to send an email and say, hey, I hope you still use this email. Hope you're doing well. Love to hear from you if you want, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So she sends one back and says about meeting on Discord, which I had to make a Discord account. And funny thing is, when I thought about it, she was the reason I had a MySpace and then a Facebook, because she'd say about, oh, hey, I want to show you these pictures, and they're on MySpace. So I had to create a MySpace. And then it was like, then she migrated to Facebook, and that's how I ended up on Facebook. Anyway, so now she dragged me to Discord, which I'm actually kind of liking. It's good for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm more comfortable with this, and plus it's easy for people to find me that don't use Discord. Anyway, but the thing of it is, okay, she's been going through some really bad stuff, okay? And it had come to a head that very morning. So it was like that email, it's like, and I don't believe in like divine intervention and stuff, but still, it's like something said, today's the day to send that email.
Yeah.
And we talked for hours about what she was going through and stuff. And then talking the next day was talking about stuff again and talking about how we just fell out of contact. And I said, you know what, though? It's kind of like if we had stayed in contact and I had been with you the whole time, I might not have been able to help you now because I would have had too many preconceived about what was happening, or or there might have been stuff where she wouldn't have wanted to tell me about it because it'd be like there could be like some "I told you so" kind of things in there.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, if you were going to believe in some hand of fate, it's like that hand By the way, if anybody else comes in, feel free to come up. Um, it's like that hand reached back a couple of years and said, okay, we have to stop this so he can be there, you know, in a couple of years. And then it's like, okay, this is the day. It just sort of, but anyway, I've been talking to her all week and it's been great reconnecting and kind
That's
of
awesome.
kind of got her through the rough patches and stuff. And anyway, so anything new going on with you?
Going to Pittsburgh on 20th here for see a surgeon.
Is it to see a surgeon because they can make you better, or a surgeon because it's gotten so bad and they don't want to get worse?
Well, I need to get my other hip done.
Oh,
It's just gotten so bad I can't get around like I was. No one around here does that kind of surgery because I don't know if it's the liability or what it is.
how's Sandy doing?
Not too bad. We've been working on the greenhouse and trying to get plants growing for spring here, and I don't know, it's going to be a interesting summer. We have a lot of plants this year.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'll be able to be more part of it if I get this surgery done.
So I just got done talking with her, and she's in England, so it was like
Okay.
going on 8:30 in the morning for her, you know.
Yeah.
And I was still wide awake, and but right after I got done talking to her, I had a sneezing fit, and I like blew my nose, and I hadn't had a bloody nose in years, and all of a sudden it was like my nose was bleeding. I don't know what that deal was.
Yeah, I noticed that when I first came in.
And the funny thing is, because I used to get nosebleeds all the time, and it was always this nostril, you know. So I don't know if there's like some like weak blood vessels in there or what. But I wasn't even really sneezing that hard or anything. So I don't know what happened. Seems to have stopped now though. Uh,
It's a dry time of the year.
by the way, check out my YouTube tomorrow and see what you think.
All right.
I think it's one of the better ones I've done. But I'll be interested to see people. You know, other people might go, "That's boring." So, kind of like to know. Um, I
Oh,
don't know.
yeah, I fell asleep kind of early tonight and woke up kind of early, I guess. These storms
I
kind of get to me.
I'm almost always up till 5 or 6 o'clock. A lot of
Yeah,
time. Then I'll usually only sleep for like maybe 3, 4 hours is a big one. But then a lot of times in the afternoon I'll drift off for a bit.
I usually get about 6. Unless my pain's really bad, then it's just, I get what I can get, I guess.
Now, one thing with me, I've started doing that Grammy thing where you just like sitting there and go. But
Yeah.
the other thing about it is 10 or 20 minutes and then I'm good for the rest of the night.
Yeah. Well,
And
they
one of
say
the,
you need less sleep. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
They say you need less sleep as you get older, so.
Yeah. I always did, there was a guy in college that he said, "You're always the last guy I see at night and the first one I see in the morning." Because I always did like, a lot of times I'd go for a long time on like maybe 4 hours a night. But I was going to say, one of the annoying things though, I hate when I'll be sitting here at night and you get like really, really tired, and I think, okay, I'm going to bed. And so I'll go and I'll go to the bathroom first, and then by the time I come out of the bathroom, it's like I'm wide awake again, just for like that little bit of walking around.
Yeah.
Anyway, do that old man thing of sitting around talking about your your melodies and things. But did I ever tell you the story about the two old men sitting on the front porch talking?
I
And
don't think so.
and as old people tend to do, that's what they're talking about is, oh man, I always know when the rain's coming because this shoulder acts up, and the other one's, yeah, I know my knees, and they're going back and forth and talking about how it takes them an hour and a half to piss anymore, and um, just I used to be able to do this, and I just can't do it anymore. And then the one guy says to his buddy, he goes, you know what? I could put up with all that physical stuff, but what really drives me nuts is I just can't remember shit anymore. And his friend says, I was having the same problem. But the doctor gave me these pills and they're great. I mean, my mind is like sharp as a whatchamacallit now. And his friend says, oh, I got to get me some of them. He says, what are they called? He says, well, they're, what's that flower? It's like, it has a long stem and thorns. It's usually red. He says, a rose. And he says, yeah, that's it. Hey, Rose, what's my new medicine called? I was like,
Some good medicine then, huh?
Yeah. The other old people one I always like that I tell people is the 3 old widowed sisters that are living together. And the one day, the oldest sister leans her head out the bathroom door and she yells to the middle sister, I need a prop. I need a kitchen counter. She yells to the middle sister, hey, Grace. And Grace is on the steps and she stops and says, what do you want? She goes, was I just going in the shower or was I just coming out? And Grace is like, how would I know? And then Grace stops and she yells down to the kitchen to the little sister, hey, Nancy, what do you want? Was I halfway up the steps or was I halfway down? And the little sister's like, oh my God, you two are going to be the death of me. I hope I don't get like that knock on. There's someone at the door. Anyway, I told some people today, now this won't be as good because I'm making a joke. But the one panel I was in, I said, hey, before I go, can I tell you guys about my doctor appointment today? And they were, yeah, sure. Because there's a lot of people in there that they'll pour out all their like personal problems and all this.
Yeah.
And I said, let me just say, I really love my doctor. Because, and this is true. I said, because she's not just all business. She does the medical stuff and then she'll talk for a while and I'll ask about her kids and stuff. And she'll ask me about stuff. And I said, so I went to see her and she asked like what I'm doing to occupy myself. And I told her how I've gotten into this YouTube thing. I've really been doing it. I said, it all started, ironically enough, because I needed to tell a story about a weird medical experience I had. And I've just been doing it. She goes, oh, that sounds interesting. She said, anything else you're doing? I said, well, I'm thinking of starting to collect comic books. And she said, don't you have enough issues?
Yeah.
So, and they didn't see it coming. I got them all.
I'm sure you did.
We've been doing a thing over there. It started one night. This new guy came in and he told some dad jokes. So now we keep doing dad jokes and yo mamas because
Yeah.
they're both mostly so stupid that they're funny because they shouldn't be funny. And like, and especially the dad jokes, it's like, well, here, I'll give you one that I remember is, what is blue but not heavy?
Blue but not heavy. What is it?
Light blue, light blue. And,
All right.
and, and you hear stuff like that, and it's like, that's so dumb, but you can't help. And you also think, I should have just got that. We do a lot of
Yeah.
those. And then like the
Yeah.
yo mamas, like yo
There's
mom.
a site where they do those back and forth trying to get each other to crack up.
I was in another panel, I think it was, and some girl was telling me that she was at a site that was doing that. But
Yeah,
I usually
it can
do
be
the
pretty funny.
mamas because I know a few of the mamas. Like one that it's been one of my go tos for years was, "Your mama is so fat, her Cadillac Escalade has stretch marks," and "Your mama is so fat, she's got smaller fat ladies stuck in her orbit,"
Yeah.
and "Your mama is so dirty, she went swimming and left a ring around the Atlantic Ocean." The other night I hit him with, "Your mama's so dumb, it takes her 3 hours to watch 60 Minutes."
Yeah.
Oh, and another one too. I actually adapted this one from a joke I used to make about myself, but it's like, "Your mama's so fat, when she got hit by a taxi crossing the street, the cop asked the taxi driver, 'Why'd you hit her?' And he said, 'I didn't have enough gas to go around.'" So yeah, that's kind of how I occupy my days.
Yeah.
I forget who I was talking to, and they were saying about how they'd get together and hook up a bunch of TVs to play games. And I was going to tell them that that's how my nephew did his bachelor party, but then we moved on. I never did get to tell them that.
Yeah.
I just always thought that was kind of cool, instead of like, "Hey, let's go get drunk and see strippers." It was,
Yeah, we still got drunk, but ended up
hey,
playing Halo, I think.
is that what it was? I was playing a lot of
Yeah.
Halo. Too bad. And well, I probably wasn't playing. I probably wasn't playing like then. I started playing later, but I
Yeah.
wish we could have. I was going to
I
say, I
think that
wish
was
we
on
could
the
have
first.
met online sometimes and played. I was just,
Yeah.
I was just telling someone the other night who I was that girl I reconnected with, and well, she's one of two that I knew when I was. You always get these guys, and I think it's changed now a bit. But it was like, girls can't play video games and stuff.
Yeah.
And I used to say, I know two that regularly kick my ass, and she was one of them. But we were talking. I said, like, we used to, and I belonged to can't remember if we called it a clan or not. But anyway, and it was like they had several gaming groups in it. And I actually started off with another game, and then made friends with some guys, and they introduced me to Halo. But we used to spend a lot of time in old Blood Gulch. But there
Oh
was this
yeah.
one there was this one guy. Now, did you play like on Xbox or PC?
Xbox.
Okay, because I was telling her this the other night, and I realized she didn't quite get it because she was used to Xbox too. Well,
Yeah.
on PC, you could play, where it's like arrow up for this and shift
Right.
bar for to shoot and all that. But it's kind of hard to do. So pretty much everybody, you bought these things, and I forget what they're called. I have one
That,
around somewhere, but you'd
that
plug it in.
fang,
What was it?
the fang.
I think it was. Yep.
Yeah. I was
Well,
telling
this.
CJ about it.
Oh, really? This guy 6. He never used one. He just used the keyboard, but he kicked everybody's ass. And they used to always accuse him of cheating. If we went and played in someone else's server, a lot of times he'd get kicked out. He was just so good. And I remember one incident, me and him were there one night, and nobody was around like our server, so we decided to go out and see if we could find games. And we went into this one, and it obviously must have been like a bunch of kids, high school or college, thinking they were having fun. But what they did was, because I don't know if you're ever like involved in setting up, like setting up the, because like the host, you picked like what weapons were available and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So what they did was the what's the word I want to use for when like when your character enters the game, you like propagate
Spawn.
or with spawn.
Yep.
They had we came in, we spawned on the one fort or whatever, and they were all they gave was you came in with with pistols, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like all around. And I remember there was even a guy like up on top of this one mountain where you can't actually access it in the game, but they were able to like place him up there with a sniper rifle. So anyway, we came in and it was like bang bang, we were dead. And then it was like, well, let's go back in again. And it was like the same thing. And they're there laughing, having a good time. And I said to 6, I said, well, let's go find someplace else. He said, no. And like the 5th time we came in, he dodged away from the first shot. And then he went, and that sniper up there, he took him out with a pistol, which nobody would expect. But like I say, he was a master with the pistol. But anyway, and all I heard was the guys in there, they're like, what the fuck? It must be a bot, And then we were kicked out and not allowed back in. They were so pissed off somebody ruined their fun.
But the pistol was really good on that game.
What's that?
The pistol was really good on that game.
Yeah, because he taught me to use it too. It's like everybody discounted it because they think of like the real life pistol. But yeah, it was very good in there. What he used to do for fun, like our setup was, there was one tank at either end of the gulch, and I can't remember if I don't think our regular setup had that like hovercraft or whatever it was. It was like a helicopter type thing. I think the only thing like that we had was the tanks. But what he used to do, he loved to sneak down to the other end, steal their tank and bring it back up. And then he'd just abandon it. And one of them would steal it back again. He'd go down and get it again. He made everybody look stupid.
I didn't play a lot of Halo on the computer. I played more Battlefield.
Okay.
It was Modern Combat and 2142.
Yeah, I don't think I played them. I played Call of Duty Modern Warfare a lot.
I think you would have liked it.
I think when I was playing Call of Duty, I think that was after I got my Xbox 360. I think I played that on there. Yeah, I did, because you know what? I remember I'd play on the TV, and Grammy used to get a kick out of it, that when I'd shoot the guys, that the guys on there knew when to fall.
Yeah.
But
there's on that Battlefield, they had, I think it was 3 different generations. I think they did 1942, Modern Combat, 2142.
I remember seeing that like 1942 and that. I don't think I ever
Yeah.
played any of them though.
They were all really good. I mean, they're squad based, so you had different positions. So you could be a squad leader and gain points from being a squad leader. You could be a commander and actually command the battlefield. Um, there was a lot of different things to it. Like you could throw C4 down if the friendly fire was shut off. You could throw it down and stand on top of it and blow yourself
Oh,
into the air and parachute down into places. And when we get bored, like you were saying, a few of us would get together from my clan and we'd just make videos and stuff, trying to launch tanks into the air and do different things like that. Yeah.
you know, so one of the things I used to like about Call of Duty was when somebody would go and well, I can't remember any of the word. What was it when you would just go and set up camp?
Yeah.
They'd go and they'd camp with like a sniper rifle, and people would be like, "Oh, damn campers! That's cheating! That's cheating!" And I thought, isn't that what they do in real warfare? You know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what
It's,
snipers usually do.
and the thing is, once once that guy shot you, whenever you spawned back, if you're any good, he actually was a sitting duck then. Once you knew
Right.
where he was, you could stay out of his line of fire and take him out. But I
Yeah.
can I remember with Halo, I can remember you'd get these guys who would get the game, and of course they'd go through like the whole CD, and then they'd come in and they'd like be saying, "Oh, I'm really good. I'm really good. I played you. I wiped them all out as I was doing it." And then they'd find out going against up against other live people isn't like the CD. You know,
No,
they
not at all.
they'd be so amazed when they would just like get killed right away.
Yeah.
Oh, the good
With
old
that,
days.
with that 2142, it was kind of neat because you had the different job skills. Like you could be a medic.
Oh yeah.
Like you're saying, like you could be a sniper, and those job skills you could build up points and unlock new weapons and different things for those jobs. Like the the 2142 had like cloaking technology and stuff, and you could sneak up behind a tank and put C4 on it and run away and blow it up, stuff like that. It was a fun game. But they all had, I think, a couple of the same maps. Like they had Iwo Jima on every one of them.
No.
Wake Island. Um, I can't think of any of the other ones, but the 1942 was neat because it had one of the DLCs was for the secret weapons, so you could fire off some, you know, guided rockets, or trying to think some of the weird things they had on there.
I was saying to her last night, we were talking about games, and I said one thing I liked about like the older games, like the earlier Nintendo ones. I said like um Zelda. I said what was kind of neat is because you'd work your way through kind of, and you'd get better weapons and stuff. And it was always kind of neat to like after you got up there and you had like the really good armor and sword, you go back to those early ones and just sort of go, you know.
Yeah,
But then then the later games, it's like, yeah, you can't do that anymore. You go back to an area you've been in, and all of a sudden they've all upgraded too, and
yeah,
they didn't always spawn in the exact same places. That was the other thing with like the early Zelda, in that you knew when you walked in there was going to be one over here and one over there behind that pillar and stuff. So every time after you went in a time or two, you knew how to get them. And the later
Yeah.
games, it was like, nope, they could be in a lot of places.
Yeah, I've been
Although,
playing a lot of Skyrim lately.
oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah. It's a single player game, but I mean it's really vast. It's one of the Elder Scrolls games. I don't know if you ever
Yeah.
played Morrowind or anything like that.
No, no, I heard of them all net, but I the only like the only online ones I played. Because at first I played I forget what it was now. Somebody just mentioned about there being a new version of it. It was one of the originals. It was one of those like
Baldur's
fantasy.
Gate.
Yes, like I played that on CD, and I think some others. I remember there was one. I think you gave it to me. It was sort of like a planetary warfare one. I can't remember much about.
Can't remember.
But then online, at first I played Neverwinter Nights, which was sort of like based on D&D,
Yeah.
and and at first I didn't want to have anything to do with FPSs, because I'd watch those and how it'd be like through the guy's eyes, and it like confused me at first. I like the whole thing of where you're like are sort of like up above and watching. But then like I said, that one guy, because that clan that I joined with the Neverwinter group, and that was cool too, because that game you could design your own world, like, so all the different clans that had servers, every game was different,
Yeah.
But anyway, I was playing that, and I got to be friends with some guys from the Halo group, and they drugged me over there, and then I just like fell in love with Halo. I think partly because like it was so much more what's the word I want, social.
Oh yeah.
Because you're like the Neverwinter, you could go in groups, you could go alone, but like Halo, you were constantly interacting with each other and stuff, and like it's like hey, Six, you have any grenades? Go up there, on that, and throw them at that tank or whatever it be, But so that, then after that, I got into the. It must have been Call of Duty, yeah. Because I remember there was another group there who were playing Call of Duty, and we used to mock them because they would talk about getting an improved rocket launcher and doing how you'd progress and stuff. And it was
Yeah.
like, that's not a shooter. That's a reader. That's what they used to call them. You had the shooters and the readers. It's like, because that whole thing of like upgrading like that seemed too much like a fantasy game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never really played Call of Duty much.
Well, they're all kind of similar.
Yeah. I was playing. They do have an Elder Scrolls game. It's Elder Scrolls Online. It's more like what you're saying, where it's more social and there's group
Yeah.
events and stuff like that. I think you'd probably really get into it because I mean, it's the fantasy in it is really good. There's a lot of really good lore. Um, I mean, there's thousands of books to read in it. They're not super long books or anything, but there's some interesting stories in them. Tell you more about what's going on in the game and that. You should take the time, but
So, I used to, a lot of times I would skip all that kind of stuff.
well, yeah,
I would just go like action to action kind of a thing.
I've kind of got that to that point now. I played because it's been out for quite a few years now. Skyrim has,
Yeah.
and I've never completed it, and I just didn't really want to have to build it back up to where I was again. So I played a tutorial on YouTube there, and got I think I got up to level 50 in like a week, but it's made a big difference in trying to get back to where I was, because I think I've played the game 3 times at least, and I just for whatever reason, I think the first time we might have had it on a disc, and I didn't have a save for it after the Xbox was gone. But I don't know what happened with the other times.
I was trying to think. There was another game I was trying to remember, but I think it might have just been Baldur's Gate 2. Because I knew it
Yeah,
was one of those type.
I'd like to try that game. It looks good.
Yeah, it was good. I
I tried the
imagine
first one.
you got garbled there.
I tried the first one years ago.
Oh, did you? Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a good game. That was a good game. I can't remember a lot. I remember you kept progressing through like different tasks, wasn't it?
Yeah, you start. I never really got real far into it because it was so time consuming trying to figure everything out, and
Yeah.
like I'd just make it out of the first couple rooms, and then something would happen, and I think it might even have been on Joey's computer. So it was just when I would stop over to visit or whatever.
Yeah. I was thinking, wow, was that game then? When you said Joey, I thought CJ. And I thought,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
that
I do it
doesn't
all the time.
if I message him or anything, I always call him Chad anymore because I noticed that's how he signs his. So I think
Yeah.
he's kind of wants to like use his adult name, but
He doesn't.
but obviously,
For family, he doesn't really care.
well, I was going to say, well, obviously when he's around, he has to go by CJ. Otherwise, someone go, hey Chad, and two people are turning around all the time. And
Yeah. Well, even in high school and that, I think everybody called him Chad.
yeah, he's a good kid though.
He
How's he doing?
tried.
How's he doing grade wise? The first year is
Pretty
always
good.
tough. Is he?
Pretty good. Yeah. He's he's taken theology this year or this semester, and the teacher gave him a hard time at first because I guess it's an early course for his um what he's going to school for, the PP&E. um I guess it's with it being so newer. They put theology earlier in the classwork, so he shouldn't be having this till he's like a junior or something.
Uh,
And the teacher was giving him a hard time because there's supposed to be other stuff you're supposed to have before you get there. And he she basically kicked him out of the class the first day, and he went and talked to some people and got it sorted out. And he found out he was supposed to be there, and you know now he's thinking about taking being a theology major.
yeah,
He
that's.
liked it so much.
I just. What was? Oh, there was on that panel that I spend a lot of time on. The one guy, he brought his son in to introduce him to us, and he just started college, and we were like talking to him and asking him questions and stuff. And that was like my advice to him. I said, college is a time to go and experience things and stuff. I said, just because you started off saying you're going to be this, it doesn't mean that you can't like take other classes and go, ooh, actually, I think I'm interested in this.
Yeah.
That's that's why I always think people are better off. There's advantages to the real small colleges, but there's advantages to the big ones because they offer so much more.
Right. Yeah. Who
And they,
knows? He's even talking like with his courses already, he wouldn't need much more to have both degrees. But I said you're going to pay for it. That's the way they do
yeah,
that. You can't just get it for free.
well, both degrees is good, and if not, the one degree and the knowledge from the second is almost as good.
Yeah.
I I
Well,
think everybody should take a couple of semesters of theology to, like a comparative religion type thing.
yeah,
Might be a lot less fighting.
might be. Of course, I don't know. I mean, I think it's funny. Like our one sister-in-law, um, she's very Republican, and she talks about her experience in college, and it was just basically like her thing with. I don't even know if I don't think it was theology, but I think it was one where they go through all the different religions pretty much.
Uh,
I think, but she's like, they couldn't get over who believed in what, and the practices they had, but I don't know. I just
we had an
it just
argument on
doesn't.
that panel. We were arguing on that panel the other day. Someone came in and started throwing religious stuff around, and I forget they were saying stuff came up about like Abraham and that, and said something about because people that's how it came up because someone was saying about like it's okay to have like two wives, and then said Abraham had two wives, and I'm like, no, he didn't. He never married the other lady, and we're like going back and forth, and I like threw. I said no, that was his wife's maid, and I said about Isaac and Ishmael and stuff, and I went, that's right, fucker. The atheist knows more about your religion than you do.
Yeah. Can I sit you down for a second here? I'll just here though.
Hello, rebellious trouble. You want to come up and talk? We're just chatting aimlessly.
Yeah, we'd probably be open for actual discussion though too, right?
Oh, yeah. She said she can't come up because she'd wake her husband.
Uh,
I don't. Have we ever met? Your name kind of sounds familiar, but there's a lot of similar names go around. Not you, Chad.
I understand.
Most of us are rebellious. Yeah, maybe not. You ever hang out at the People's Podcast with Eli? I spend a lot of time over there. That's weird. You're obviously here, but the thing says there's 0 watchers. Yeah.
Boy, the roads must be bad.
The what?
The roads must be a little bad.
Oh, yeah, I heard the plow go by here a little bit ago. Yeah, we're both okay. Just a couple of insomniacs. How about you? What are you doing up this time of day? Well, of course, I don't even know what time of day is it where you are. Are you in the 4:30 a.m. zone? I'm almost always up late or early. I don't know what Chad's problem is.
Just
Uh,
pain.
so England. Yeah, I have a friend in England, so I'm always like doing the math when I look at the clock here. I always add the 5 to it and know what it is over there. I actually earlier on tonight I jumped in a panel with a guy by the name of Grim Reaper, and it was like all British people. So I went in. And I told him I thought I'd um, join for the people that wanted somebody that didn't have a weird accent. What did I have for dinner? No, I had a chicken leg. How about you, Chad?
Mm. Oh, I made steak tips,
Sounds good.
onions and peppers.
Yeah, Chad's the cook in his house. Yeah, just a chicken leg, nothing else with it.
Yeah, some Brussels sprouts with it.
Yeah.
It's funny. That's one of those foods that I hated when I was a kid, but now that I know how to cook it right, I love them.
Oh yeah. Decently. Yeah, pretty much. He said steak tips.
Yep, steak
Uh,
tips and onions and peppers, mushrooms.
that's what I forgot to get. I was going to get mushrooms today. Are you seeing Chad?
No, I can't see the chat.
Oh, um, well, it'd be basically what it sounds like, just like little, um, like squares of meat, and it's a it's kind of like what you would use for stew meat or something, but it's from steak and it's good for. I don't know. I would probably mix them with some like egg noodles or something, and
Yeah, but you're trying to cut back on the carbs now, right?
yeah, that's why I just eating meat. Um,
Yeah.
so Are you a good cook, Rebellious? Can't remember if I said Chad's actually the cook in his house. Oh, chicken Kiev. I always like that. Not not big on cooked cauliflower. Uh, I like cauliflower and asparagus, either raw. Like I've never done with cauliflower, but asparagus. Sometimes I would like stir fry it. Ah, her husband's an actual chef.
Oh, that'd be nice. Of course, does he like to cook at home? Because I know some people when they do a job, they don't like to
Yeah,
do it when they're at home as much.
he's bossy in the kitchen because he likes to cook all the time at home. But I guess when you're really good at something, you hate to see people not do it well or not do it up to your standards, which is actually something that I used to use to my advantage. Like when I was in college, if I had a project to do that required any kind of artistic talent, I had a friend that was really artistic. So I'd make sure I did it around him and I'd do a really bad job till he'd eventually go, just give it to me. Like,
Yeah, I think Sandy does that with the cooking sometimes.
yeah,
She doesn't have the patience I do with it.
it's kind of a related thing. I was talking to a girl the one time online. It was like a group chat thing and said something about visiting. And she said, oh, I'd drive you nuts if I came to your house because I'm a cleaning freak. I'd be cleaning. I said, hey, it's okay with me as long as you don't expect me to pitch in. My favorite food. Well, there's a couple of ways to go with that.
Hmm.
I really like Chinese, but I love a good steak. That's my like probably my favorite thing to cook. Her husband's a clean freak too. But I think my favorite meal was always our like Easter meal. A good baked ham with baked beans and potato salad and pumpkin pie.
Hmm. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, good roast is always good. I have a roast in the refrigerator right now that I'll probably be making on Sunday. I'll have I got shrimp for today. Which, by the way, I always get the pre-cooked shrimp, but I cook it anyway.
Hmm.
And the funny thing about them is, you'll get shrimp and they'll look like this, and you just give them a quick little saute or whatever, and they look like that because I think they like pump water into them. Yeah, I like a good roast with some potatoes. Oh yeah, stuffing inside of the roast chicken. It's funny. Somebody said they were going to bring me. Must have been Christmas. They said, "Oh, I'll bring you some of our turkey," and that's what she brought me was turkey. And you know what I really would have liked to have was when I thought about dinner. Like Thanks or Christmas dinner, I guess it was, whichever it was. But anyway, instead of picturing the actual turkey, I was picturing stuffing and mashed potatoes with gravy on them. Stuffing's one of those things that everybody makes different.
Gravy's not as popular outside of the U.S., I don't think, either.
Really? You didn't do gravy over there? I know the French are big on all kind of sauces.
The au jus.
Yeah. Yeah, so she said gravy's very popular in England.
Oh.
Ah. She says the English are known for their gravy.
Well, I wonder if it's any different.
Well, like our basic gravy would be the juice from the meat, and you'd stir some flour in there.
Cornstarch.
Yeah, I always like doing cornstarch too instead of flour. I don't know, would you usually throw any spices in yours or anything, or just...
Depends on how flavorful the sauce is.
Yeah. You know, one I never liked was, I never liked people make ham gravy.
Really?
Yeah, she said her gravy is basically the same too.
Yeah, mine's just cornstarch and milk usually.
Oh, milk?
Yep, I
Okay. It's been,
mixed it.
I can say I have trouble remembering a lot of stuff like that. What would put in it?
I do the cornstarch and milk, and I put it in the refrigerator so it stays good and cold before I put it in.
Oh. I was trying to think if we always just like put some water in, and then you put the flour or cornstarch in, and then cook it back down again. Maybe we did use milk. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's Southern people do that white gravy.
Yeah, I have that for breakfast now and again. Like a peppered.
Yeah. You know, and the funny thing is, she said about putting it on biscuits, which she was translating, because I can remember the first time I heard an English person mention biscuits, and they said about some chocolate biscuits, because that's what they call cookies.
Right.
And I thought, chocolate biscuit, that sounds disgusting. What do you call biscuits? They're not scones, are they? Those scones are different, aren't they? Aren't they more bread? Yeah, I prefer brown meaty gravy too.
Oh, I like a good sausage gravy for breakfast, though.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the Southern thing. That's what I think that's what that white gravy is that they make. It's sausage gravy.
Yep.
I've had it before. It was okay, but I like good brown gravy from roast or
sausage gravy with
chicken.
Cornbread.
Yeah, cornbread's always good.
Yeah. I had that with down south when I was in the Army, and oh, it was delicious.
She said our biscuits do look like scones. It is funny. Well, I forget who it was. It might have been Oscar Wilde that said England and America, two countries separated by a common language. Oh, do you have, are what you call cookies any different than what you call biscuits? or you just use it interchangeably now? I have noticed that some terms have translated back and forth. I think English people are more aware of our terms, probably because they watch a lot more of our TV than we do theirs. And one that I have noticed is everybody had cell phones, and the English had mobile phones. And now most people over here say mobile. Okay, the cookies are different than biscuits. But there are some things that can get you funny looks or in trouble. And I know one, I won't go into detail, but rebellious will know is like over here, you might mention about patting somebody on the fanny. And over there, it's sort of like a whole different thing. There was another one like that. Well, of course, they always, which I know this would probably be another thing if they were talking to American, they would translate it, but they always said pants for what we say underwear. So like if someone said, oh, I just walked out to get my mail with just my pants, I didn't bother putting a shirt on, it's like a whole different image. Yeah. Yeah, she said fanny is female private parts.
Oh.
So that's why if you'd say something about fanny over there.
I know when Michelle was over there in school, the kids really, they got her to say all the wrong things.
I speak pretty good English because I always watched a lot of English TV. Which, by the way, I'll never forgive you guys for taking Mock the Week off. I loved Mock the Week. But that's a funny cultural thing, though. Like I said about they watch a lot of our shows. If you said Fanny here, we would understand. Yeah. Like, like a lot of shows like West Wing or whatever. There's like they watch a lot of our shows. But when there's like a popular show over there, like, what was the one that Steve Carell, I never watched it, what they worked in the paper, The Office. Of course, that was Ricky Gervais did it over there.
Right.
And it was really popular. So, of course, what we do is say, oh, we're going to buy that, but do it with Americans. And there's like so many shows we've had like that. It's funny how they can put up with our accents and stuff, but we're like, no. Yeah, she said she loves American shows. Yeah, I always make fun of Americans for stuff like that. I did. I told the one guy on that one forum. I'm pretty sure it's the Australian guy, and someone said something about the accent, and I was saying, well, with us Americans, Australia, New Zealand, England, Scotland, Irish, we just hear them all the same, so it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, bad boys, what you gonna do? For a second I thought she went weird on us, said I like bad boys. Yeah. What is it called? It's not called Bad Boys, is it? Is it called Cops?
Cops, yeah.
Of course, they might change the name over there too for stuff. I know they do that in China, because of course it's a whole different language. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Boy, I can't think of any of them now. There was a few British shows I used to watch. Besides, but the weird thing is, I like The Voice. I like a lot of those singing ones. But I like the British voice more than the American one. And the Australian one, I like it too. Uh, yeah, that's what I've seen. That's real popular over there. Big Bang Theory.
Oh yeah, yeah, I like that show.
Do you watch Young Sheldon now? Either one of you?
We've watched it.
I think I saw something. I don't know if they said this is the last season or they said they uh, they know what the last season is. I wonder. I keep waiting to see what they're going to do about his dad dying
Yeah,
because in Big Bang, it said something about he was in college at the time, and of course he's in college now.
yeah, that might be the end of the series. I'm thinking.
And then too, when they were having that thing with Sheldon, with when his dad was friendly with that neighbor lady.
Yeah,
Um, and on the Big Bang, he explained one time the reason he always knocked 3 times was because the one time he went in and caught his dad with another woman. So I was wondering if they were going to do that. She said she likes wife swap too. I used to watch that a little bit.
yeah.
Uh,
I watch episodes every now and again on YouTube. Some of
it
the
was
foreign
always
ones are interesting.
it was always kind of interesting when they take someone who was like a city person and they'd switch him with somebody in the country, or you'd have somebody who was like really religious and send them to like an atheist household, or they just do all kind of.
Yeah,
I I watched the first few seasons of Shameless and then I got away from it.
I've watched it. It's a good series.
Yeah, she said she likes the American one because that's another one that it originally was British.
Right.
I always Frank Gallagher. It's like who would put up with that guy?
Somebody that really loves them.
She said, I don't like the American Shameless. Okay. Because
Oh,
I can remember, I think it might be the girl I said I was talking to earlier. I think she was the one that a while back said something about it was like when it first came on here and she was saying something about the British version. She said the British one there look a lot rougher. Said the American ones, they don't look rough. They look like models.
yeah.
That's, I always get a kick out of like the high school shows, and you'll have people who are like 30 trying to pass off as 17. I got caked up blood in my nose now.
Oh, I hate that. At least
Yeah,
it's soft.
because then you want to get rid of it, and if you do, your nose starts bleeding again.
Yeah.
Yeah, she agrees with me about old people playing kids. I'll tell you another thing that drives me nuts along those lines. It's like movies when you'll have like someone like Al Pacino or some 70-year-old, and like you're supposed to believe that the 23-year-old waitress falls in love with him. And I know that happens, but not like it does in the movies,
Right.
especially if they don't know how much money Al Pacino has in the movie. But they do that. I like like um Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood. He like
Yeah, it's
actually
not bad.
played an old man.
Right.
Yeah. And she's saying about how in Greece it was like all adults playing high school kids.
I think they do it a lot of times too because they're allowed to be on set a lot longer.
Well, yeah, there's that. Yeah, if you're actually, I don't know if it's under 18
It's probably
or if
16 or something.
I was going to say it might be 16 where they can only work so many hours a day. But yeah, Dirty Dancing was another one where it was
Yeah,
adults pretending to be.
one of Grammy's favorite movies. Huh?
Yeah. Well, her favorite actor anyway.
Yeah. You think her favorite one was Roadhouse?
Yeah, I think that's the one that Barb was saying about that. She said, "Oh no, don't turn it on." Chad's
Yeah.
my
Well,
nephew, by the way.
I remember she pushed us out of the way because he was on TV.
Oh, I like this guy.
I thought she was reaching out to give me a hug, and she was like pushing me out of the way.
They I'm trying to think. I don't know if it was a movie or they is it like a new Netflix series or something they redid Roadhouse. But I don't know if it's like the same thing or they're just if it's I can't remember who's in it or anything.
I don't know. Did you ever watch Happy on Netflix?
I don't think so.
It looks stupid, but it's a really good series. I mean, it's only a couple seasons, but
What was it
it's
about?
it's about this little girl being abducted, and her imaginary friend goes out to find her father that she never met.
Okay, I remember seeing like the commercials like for it. Yeah, no, I never did watch it. My
It
problem
it get,
is,
it gets very very different than what you'd think it is.
yeah, she says happy the one with the weird fairy thing.
Yeah.
Um, my thing is, I just lost Netflix
Uh,
because the rude bastards finally caught up with the fact that I was using my friend Danny's account for the last however many years, and she said,
yeah, you're probably
"Well,
not alone.
she said I'm going to have to take you off Netflix. They want to charge me an extra $10 a month or something it was," and she kept apologizing. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
you gave me Netflix for like I don't know what it was, like 4 or 5, 6. I don't even know how long, So it's like quit apologizing.
I think we decided we're just gonna rotate. We'll just keep Netflix for a while and then go to, you know, another streaming service or something.
She said she had checked out that Happy show, but as soon as she saw the imaginary friend, that she just flipped it off.
It gets into some weird stuff like demonology, and
Mm.
it's really different. It's not what I thought it would be.
She got rid of Netflix. Now I won't miss it too much because there's this thing called downloading from torrent sites, which is
Yeah.
totally legal to anybody that's listening. So pretty much any movie that's out there, you can get it in other ways, but some of
Oh
those
yeah.
like series and stuff might not. I do have Amazon Prime to get stuff on there.
Yeah, I have that too.
A lot of times I'll like download TV shows and that all I have to do is click on my TV for, but I like watching stuff on my computer because it feeds my ADD so I can watch this while I'm playing a game over here or something. And also, if you download TV shows, there's no commercials in them. I like the name Rebellious Trouble because it's like redundant. It's like some people would say I'm trouble, some people would say I'm rebellious. She says, nah, I am rebellious trouble. She thanked me. Oh, I know. It was another British show that we converted. Extras. Now I started watching it, and then I got away from it. It was about Hollywood extras.
Oh,
I think that might have been the one with Matt LeBlanc. I'm not sure. Any English food? I don't think specifically. Besides things that are just like the same for both of us, like a roast. I have a problem with people that put fruit in sausages and meat in pies. But other than that, I can't really think of like specific English food. Although I always thought I'd like to have real fish and chips. Another one of those language things. Chips and crisp.
yeah.
Our fries are their chips, and our chips are their crisp. Because of course we have deep fried fish with French fries. I always thought it'd be interesting to actually have it
In England.
from like an English pub or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of anything specifically British or English that we
Yeah,
use.
because if somebody says like French or Italian, you can like think of things that are, of course, like Mexican, Chinese, all that.
Yeah.
It's another food I like, some good Mexican. Cornish pastry. Oh, pasties. Pasty. Yeah, never heard of that. Let's find out what it is. Mhm. Yeah, I've heard of black pudding that I was never sure what it is. But that's a Cornish pasty. That does look good. Let me see if I can. Does that blow up? Oh yeah, there's. Oh, there's a nice good. Oh,
That looks pretty good.
so yeah, it kind of looks like stew inside of a pastry.
Like a stromboli with meat, with stew meat and stuff.
Yeah.
I've made pulled pork that way.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've always heard of, but I was never sure what black pudding is. Yeah. Okay. I've got to get a description of that. Black pudding is a distinct regional type of blood sausage. I thought it had something to do with blood. It's made from pork or occasionally beef blood with pork fat or beef suet and a cereal, usually oatmeal, oat groats, or barley groats. Hmm. Well, if I just heard the description, I'd go, that sounds terrible. But when I look at the picture, I'd try it.
Yeah, it's no worse than a lot of the processed food we eat.
Um, so here's something you might be able to tell me. There was always a line in Love Actually, and I was never quite sure exactly how it would be spelled, but whenever the one, well, I can't remember the characters' names. It's funny because I've seen the movie 143 times. But Keira Knightley goes over to see that guy who's secretly in love with her, and she said it's like a Molly pie or something. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about? Of course, I'm looking over their chat, and I'm sure on the screen it doesn't look anything like I'm looking at chat, but that's like when you're on a panel, you have to get used to like just point at me once. Yeah, see that? You have to go the opposite of the way you think. Like,
Depends if you have your
uh,
camera reversed.
see, she never heard of that. Oh, here's yours. Um, she never heard of that pie thing. I don't. It was like some. It seemed like a pastry type thing with. I was just wondering what it was in it that she was eating.
Was it mulberry?
Mulberry pie? I don't
I
know.
don't know. I
Maybe
just
could be something like that. I don't know. You know how those people are over there.
yeah. Some of the accents are tough to pick out.
It's 10 o'clock in the morning. What's your husband doing sleeping? Of course, and again, he might have closed the restaurant at like 4 a.m. or something. Let me look it up the way I hear it. Molly doesn't look like it's going to give, but sometimes if you do it, Google will say, it sounds like you're actually saying it. Let's what I'm going to try to remember. Okay, where is she? She should be higher on the list than this. Oh, there she. Okay, Keira Knightley's character's name was Juliet. Let me see if I ask the Google machine what was the pie Juliet had in well, it's not giving me there I did get the actually. Banoffee. Banoffee. Does that sound familiar to you? Oh, she said her husband's still sleeping because it was Friday and he got drunk.
Oh,
Okay, so let's Banoffee pie is a British dessert made from bananas, whipped. Oh, I think I did look this up one time. I wonder how I knew the name. Whipped cream and thick caramel sauce, combined either with a buttery biscuit base or one made from crumpled biscuits and butter. It actually sounds like something I would very much like. Let me get some
Sounds
pictures
very
of it.
sweet.
Well, so do I. It's- Yeah, she said. Oh, she said banoffee pie is one of her favorites. Yeah, it kind of looks like like sort of like Boston cream pie with some additions to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
I still think my favorite pie is a blueberry pie.
Yeah, good blueberry pie is always good. I like blackberry pie too.
I just can't deal with all the seeds.
If anybody happens to wander in, feel free to come up. We're talking about not much of anything in particular, so if somebody comes in with interesting ideas, um, that's one thing about with YouTube. Nope, looks like Chad is frozen. We can never tell if people come in unless they chat.
Exactly.
Oh, there you are.
I'm gonna drop off. You think? It's good talking to you, Uncle Dan.
You never went to England, did you?
No,
He's okay. No,
no.
I've really,
Japan.
yeah, yeah. We'll see. Your connection's really getting bad. Um, the only foreign
Yeah.
countries I've ever been to is Mexico and Canada, the ones you can drive to from the U.S. That's the interesting thing over there, though. You guys will be like, it seems weird to us. It'll be like, oh yeah, we're going to like Portugal for the weekend or something, because so many of those countries are just like right next to each other, pretty much. Oh well, I don't know. Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm not a big fan of the corn dog. Yeah, some stuff like that. You wonder about people. I guess they're okay, but that's another language difference. That you didn't say shop. We'd say store. We go shopping in the store. You know, it's like, did you shop for a new pair of shoes? American pizza. Yeah, it seems like somebody else was talking about pizzas. And we do have some good foods at most of them that we stole from other countries and adapted. You know, we we have so many immigrants come from all over, and we'll we'll say, "Hey, this food is good," and then we'll change it. Like Chinese, a lady I knew a few years ago went on a trip to China. I think it was one of those like tour group things where they go as a bunch, and she said, if you went over there, you would not recognize the food as what we call Chinese food. Yes. Well, of course, there's always the big rivalry between New York and Chicago on who makes the best pizza, but yeah, New York pizza is good. Funny thing about it is, other places in the country, they'll make like the exact same recipe, but it's not as good. And they say it's because of the water, that they use to mix the dough with. But like Chicago, they make the deep dish one that's like almost, a lot of people say it's like having a stew or something on. Yeah, the water in New York. That's what they claim makes the big difference in why the pizzas don't taste the same in other parts of the country. The water that they use with the flour to mix the dough. That's what I've heard them say anyway. I have been to New York a couple times and I did have pizza and it was good. But of course, technically, water's not supposed to have a taste at all. Your water's supposed to be totally tasteless, and what you're actually tasting is whatever is in the water, any chemicals or whatever. Just another little service at the Muckster panel of useless knowledge. Yeah, that's like, I'll tell you another thing about water. You know how dangerous it is to stand in puddle because water conducts the electricity. Like if a power line comes down or there's lightning or whatever, actually, water is an insulator. But it's another thing that it's the stuff in the water that actually conducts electricity. If you had like pure distilled water, it would insulate from electricity. Must love the taste of chemicals, yeah. But yeah, I mean, we all do, because how often, you'll grab water and be like, oh, that tastes good. Like on a hot summer day. So what part of England do you live in? I have a friend who lives out in Kent. Kent. Uh, that's a seaside, isn't it? Am I thinking of the right place? That one, that panel I was in today, that it was all like mostly British people. It's not seaside. I know I've heard of it, but oh, is it? But when I came in, they were talking about politics and stuff, and they were talking about like Scotland going independent, and sometimes you'll hear about Wales and that. And I was saying how it's interesting. At one time, I always thought just it's just weird that that little island at one time owned so much of the world, you know, like North America, parts of Africa, India, the Middle East, even had their fingers in like China. And then it all kind of shrunk down. And now they even talk about breaking up the British Isle itself. Yeah. See, and I was thinking it was more up north. Trying to think of what the name is. That one kind of famous, yeah, um, seaside place. Seems like it starts with a B. What am I trying to think of? Oh, of course I can't click on stuff from this page. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Brighton. Yeah, when you said Bath, I was thinking of Brighton. Oh, well, it's actually been nice meeting you. I think I'm gonna see if I can fall asleep finally. Anytime, if you ever see us doing something in here, feel free to stop in. You know, if you can use your camera and that, come on up and talk. But, I do a lot of times. I'll do stuff with my friend David Finkel. That's the name of his channel. And the two of us will be over there. We do a music thing on Tuesdays. But like if you see something going on over there, feel free to stop in too. Yeah, I would. I wish you could come up here. It's a lot easier actually talking than for you to have to be typing stuff and that. But it was still kind of cool. I shall see you again, hopefully sometime. Bye. And